Hello, and welcome to this week's Glasstire Top 5, where we count down the top 5 art events in Texas. My name is Christina Rees.
And I'm Christopher Blay.
So we're just going to jump right in. So number 5 on our list this week is at the Five Points Museum of Contemporary Art, which is in Victoria, Texas. And this is a show that was originally at the Art Car Museum here in Houston, and it's photographs of the Houston Rodeo, which is one of the biggest entertainment events in the world. Evidently, in 2019, it drew 2.5 million people. And this photographer, Daniel Cramer, who's based in Houston and teaches photography at Rice, he's a photojournalist and has published with just about everybody. And these are photos that he's taken of the Houston rodeo over the years. He has some ancestry in rodeo, I believe.
Yeah, I think his family put on a couple of were part of a lot of rodeos, and yeah, that sort of photography was most famously created by Gary Winogrand when he covered the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo for decades. And there's some really just beautiful images in, like, people interacting over such a long period of time around animals. For number 4, we go to Austin, Texas. Monique RajNakra Wildlife at Big Medium in Austin. I stopped by and checked out this show, and it's really beautiful. The paintings themselves deal with regeneration and reclamation. Noticing that since we've been locked down for COVID, nature has sort of been taking over in places. Monique sort of taps into this and creates his own connection with the batik in the Indian culture, where he, the painted third eye then becomes this sort of seed that's planted and regenerates around all these really beautiful floral and fauna motifs.
Okay. So number 3 on our list this week is in Dallas. It's a big group show at Kirk Hopper Fine Art, and we've got some pretty familiar names on this list.
Yeah, there's George Alegria, Matthew Bourbon, Carlos Don Juan, Benito Huerta, Lily Hansen. Yeah, a bunch of familiar names. And this show is, I wouldn't say it's in lieu of the Dallas Art Fair, but a lot of people that usually show at the Dallas Art Fair are putting things together for what is called, or being called, Dallas Art Day or Dallas Gallery Day, something like that.
One thing that's nice, and just a pattern that you're going to start noticing more and more, is the galleries are opening up and they are having what are starting to look like more or less normal shows. And some of them are kind of, I wouldn't be surprised if people kind of cram in a lot of ambitious shows over the course of the next year. But all of these are good familiar names with some good familiar work. So this will be open until May 10th. So number 2 on our list this week is called the 2021 Rockport Spring Art Fair, or Rockport Fulton Spring Art Fair. It's in Fulton, and it also is serving Rockport. And this is the first time that they're doing what would normally be like a big studio visit kind of art crawl in Rockford. Yeah. They've moved it into a convention center for safety's sake, because of the pandemic. So all of the artists who would normally have open studios in their homes are now going to bring their work into this space, and it will be sort of like a nice celebratory day with lots of social distancing and refreshments and entertainment, etc. So I'm going to miss this fair by just a few days. It opens on the 17th and goes through the 18th. There's actually a VIP party for it on the 16th. So go to Rockport Center for the Arts website to look up that information. But it should be a good few days of art fun, and it may even feel like things are kind of back to normal for 48 hours. We'll see, but good for them for having this and for going ahead with it in a way that I think is going to be safe and fun for everybody.
That brings us to the number 1 show, which is Robert Hodge DNA at David Shelton Gallery. So Hodge has been at the gallery since January. You talked to David Shelton. What's going on there?
I think he started to take on the gallery as his own studio in January, since David wasn't having regular shows, and then really started using it in earnest in February. And it is set up as his studio, very much a working, productive studio. And
Hmm.
David and Robert are going to essentially open it to the public this Saturday with social distancing. It's not like there's going to be a big crush of an opening or anything like that, but there will be programming. I would say this is a really nice opportunity to essentially walk into a productive artist studio right this second to see sort of what's been going on with this particular artist over COVID.
Yeah, and he's been out there. Um, he has a couple of shows going. He did a performance last Friday at the Cam H around the Sloat and Throde exhibition. Did some DJing, and he's had guest artists and worked with other artists over the past couple of months, leading up to this sort of opening of the David Shelton space for. I mean, I guess you can call it an exhibition. It's.
Yeah, it is almost its own just sort of open studio. It just happens to be
Mhm.
in the gallery.